Okay, so welcome everybody to this episode of the Wealthy Warrior Leaders podcast. So I'm Dr. Vidya here, I'm the host, and I'm also CEO and founder of the Global Life Leadership and Emotional Mastery Institute. So I'm super excited to have my beautiful friend here. This is Ranjini Sanjay, and she is the founder, legacy leader, and mother of three. So she has multi-million dollar missions that she's going to be telling us all about, her vision for the future if she's happy to share. And we're both going to also be just discussing main concepts around motherhood, multi-million dollar missions, the inner journey, right? The inner heroine's journey that we are self-leading, leading
Mhm.
our families through leadership of example, and then leadership in the global business service leadership that we've created, and then now it's how do we really share that, and all of the beautiful uncomfortableness that comes up with that. So one thing I want to just one of the main sort of quote that I want to talk about with this is really resolving to carry out our quest. We'll talk more about that. But first of all, welcome, Ranjini. So before we go on, I just want to welcome you on. Thank you so much for coming to this podcast. I'm truly, truly grateful. So thank you. And and if you can just share a little bit about yourself to our audience here as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Vidya. Thank you so much. And I have always cherished conversations with you earlier and today. And I'm looking forward to a journey with you as we were speaking before we got into this conversation.
Thank
So,
you.
all the listeners, Vidya, and I am joining from India, and I'm a software engineer turned educator. So, education, I think it runs in my blood. My parents have been educators, my mom being a retired principal. So, I think I've modeled that somewhere. Though technically strong, yet I am a service provider today, educating people, helping them monetize their skills and expertise. So, and happy to connect with Vidya because most predominantly we work online, get to connect with leaders, people having a similar mindset, or I would say shared vision. And
Yeah.
I think there is a reason we got connected this time of the year. And I think that is unfolding. The future is unfolding as we speak. So thank you so much.
Love that. Love that. Thank you. So eloquent. So yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. And we have previously connected on Ranjini's incredible podcast, and I'll put the link to that down below as well, so you can listen to that initial conversation. But we really touched on then, didn't we, about motherhood and actually the gift of it. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about the challenges, yes, but I think I've changed so much in being a mother. Like I've learned from them, right? They are my teachers as well, and they really have taught me about this particular quote, which I really wanted to hone in on, which is resolving, that quest to carry on, and what is that quest, and how do we carry on, and the capacity within. I wrote some notes here as well. In particular, the iconic leadership. So, what is our definition of that for ourselves? Because that's going to, and it's going to change, isn't it, as we go along the journey as well. So, Ranjani is a very powerful, powerful example of iconic leadership already, although we are taking it to the next level. But initially, what it looks like to really put your heart and your strategy together. Because in my Warrior Heart method, what's one thing I teach is the very first pillar in the heart is healing, that
Mhm.
deep emotional healing, which it's, let's be honest, it's kind of is a bit of a cycle, right? Like things sometimes come up that we may have thought we were sort of fully over with, done with. But there is an element of healing, isn't it, when you start this journey? Things that may come up, resistance, perceived obstacles. So I think there is definitely an element of healing as well. So she is rebuilding. a life from Chennai, from launching 6 ventures whilst raising 3 children. And so her journey really does speak to any woman or man, who wonders, can I really live out my calling? Can I really live out my calling whilst raising a family? Of course, we're going to say yes. But the first question I have for you, Ranjini, is just how did you stay anchored in your truth and your values as you transitioned from full time mum to multi venture entrepreneur? We're just going to wait a moment because the beauty of live is that sometimes it doesn't work with Wi-Fi, and she will pop back in just a moment. Hi. So no worries. I was just talking about the beauty of going live. But yeah, so I was just leaning into the first question, really, just of how did you stay anchored in your truth, particularly at the beginning, when the idea is born, and we talked before about that first pillar of healing. Sometimes consciously aware of being known there's healing, sometimes unconsciously because it's such a block. So how did you do the healing? How did you stay anchored in your truth and your values as you transitioned, from that initial full-time software engineer, it's not exactly like an easy career, and then into this multi-venture entrepreneur?
So, thank you. This is like, I'm really traveling a decade back now to a moment. This reminds me, like, the question has taken me back. So, I remember sitting in a training program where there was my speaker, and she traveled from, I think, New Zealand to lead that session in India. And she introduced herself when she started the session, and she was a CEO of a company where there are 500 employees, and she had a baby 4-year old, and she was here leading the session. And it's a rigorous training program, and I was like wondering, like, how is that possible for a woman to be a business owner, running a huge company, huge team, children, young children, and we here, like, we as moms, we are so anxious about things, as motherhood brings a lot of things. And I think she became that the inspiration for me, like, I need to be someone like this, who can
Mm.
be at multiple places, yet my children love what I do, and they still want me to come back home.
Yes,
Be
yes,
It's not that you are coming back and they are like, very angry and screaming at you, like,
yes,
why you are
yes.
not there, kind of. No, they love what I do, and they look up to, and like this. No, that's my mom. So that, I think we all have, that inspiration, that we see real people in our lives that inspires us to take action, to really own the reality that I know we are here for. And that spark or that light, or for that woman, I'm thankful that she showed up for herself, and she was here to lead and inspire people. And I'm, 10 days, 10 years later, I'm someone who's in that spotlight. Like, I am a light for others,
Yes,
inspired,
yes,
right?
yes.
So this is what I am, uh, I want to creating. Like, it's a future that we are keeping and creating, and for people to, like, start owning their reality. So I think what has
Wonderful.
anchored me to answer this question is uh, doing something that you love every day, that you are not running into any guilt or regret, or, oh, I should be doing that, or I should be doing this. No,
Mhm, mhm.
really fully present and really enjoying at the right place. Now, whether you are with your children, I'm in this live, and I know my kids are there on the other side. I know things are taken care. Like, you can have, uh, you don't have to be, limited to a certain thing. Like, be a mom, raise kids,
Yeah,
or go to a job, get some money. It's not fixed. You
yeah,
could be more, and
yes.
that more is available for not just for you, for your family, but for the world also. Other
Mm,
people, like those
mm,
who are watching
mm.
this conversation live, I think they could, really get it. Like, you could be there to inspire millions of people at the same
Yes.
time. So really living a life you love is the anchor. Ask
Yeah.
yourself, is this
Yeah.
the life that you want? You know,
Mm,
and
mm,
work towards living that. And I think
mm.
things will fall in place.
Yes, love that. Thank you. Thank you. That is so incredible because I think that doing my business has made me a better mum,
Hmm.
right? As in I'm not saying you have to do that to be a better mum, but this is just for me as Vidya, right? Because it really makes nothing like entrepreneurship, right? To really and motherhood to make you really question yourself, your sanity. Things like, oh, I've done a whole clinic, or I've done this or this, and now I've okay, is being a mom mean that I now need to make like the chicken curry and the paraffin and the rice and 10 million curries and it just even like, mom, how did you do that? And just all of this that comes up, right? And even my mom sort of saying like, no, you don't. There's no like rule that you have to do that. If you want to do that, do that. Like it just really makes you question every single thing and how you're serving and who you are when you're with them as well. Like exactly what you said. Like I feel like after this, when I go and pick up my kids later, they're in school, I feel like my cup is so full, right? My cup is so full. I know I'm on the right path, but just having this conversation with you when it's further confirmation, it's like watering that seed, right? I call it you've already had the thought in your mind and then you planted it. And sometimes you're a bit at the beginning of entrepreneurship, like, I'm just going to plant this seed. I'm just going to quietly water it. It's like 4 a.m. and I don't know what I'm doing. And then you get more confirmation. And it's like other people watering the seed. And you're like, oh my gosh, like it's growing. Like it's so much easier, right? But it does take that initial courage, and it's like that book, feel the fear but do it anyway. And then the more you do it, it's coming instead from a place of faith from within rather than fear, right? Or the faith is bigger. So thank you. That is, I'm absolutely loving that. So what um, daily spiritual or mindset, people use different wording, daily method of operation, whatever it is, but what do you feel it is that, especially, I mean, it's probably evolved over time, right? But what would you say at the beginning, like your DMO or daily mindset practice or whatever, was for you to really kind of, I don't know about you, but I felt it was a real like hustle, even though I say not to hustle, but you do need an element of it to kind of really drive that drive compared to say maybe now what you're doing as well. And just to really stay connected, especially in chaos, especially challenges, uncertainty, resistance, pushback from others. So what was your like daily sort of anchoring kind of practice, if you like?
I'm happy that I'm answering this question because I would say 5 years back I really didn't have anything as
No,
such
it's
in
good to know.
place.
That's good to know.
But that was a period. I think uh, that came as maybe a reflection or a lesson. I would say that my entrepreneurial journey, 5 years when I started with my schools, and it came to a stop. Like I had to close everything, and it was hard for me. I know it was a very low point in my life, and so when you start newly, like taking a new terrain, there are times that of not having experience mindset or maybe the resources that you need, there is a chance that you fail, no? There's always that risk of failings. And then, for me it was a restart. Like I really had to get back on my feet and really find a name for myself again, no? Whatever has happened in the past, to really reclaim who I am, what is possible,
Love
you
that.
know reclaiming that. So it's,
Yeah.
see, self-worth is a conversation you always go back and reclaim. There is no
Yes.
formula here to calculate. You
Yes.
need to go back, go and reclaim it,
Yes.
or and
Yes.
then just tone that up. And
Mm,
your mind needs evidences, like, no, you're doing it. No, mind is, no, I would say, a very, logical kind of, no, it needs evidence to believe, like real
mm,
evidence to believe. That's why, so that's where the action comes in place. Like the more you take action, your mind and body is like, yes, you are doing it. It starts
mm,
believing, okay, you are putting yourself out to the new goal. Now, so there was 5 years of my life where there was no as such routines, though I was investing in personal development, I was doing a lot of training. But when I became a coach, as you said, when you become a mom, you become, you started entrepreneurship, you became a better mother. When I became a coach, everything around me, started. I would say transformation was there, not
Um,
just for myself, people around me, the money in my life, the love
mm,
in my life. So, coach, being a mentor, you bring in certain practices in our routine, as you
mm,
said, spiritual and mindset practice. So, I learned from other fellow coaches, like what they do, mindset coaches, life coaches.
yes,
And I learned the gratitude
yes,
as a practice from one of my coaches in US. She's a Kanke, and I learned it from her, so I always tell her name whenever I share this.
lovely,
So,
yes.
gratitude, I had no clue, like there's something called
Yeah.
gratitude.
Hello.
And yeah, it was the start of my journey as a coach, so I learned it. I've been practicing since then. Like, I make sure I spend some time and share my gratitude on a daily basis. That
Beautiful.
really that has really shifted everything, in the sense, whatever loss I had, all my trauma around entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
I could heal, I could
Yes.
write a
Yes.
story. And it's a very powerful exercise. I highly recommend it, not just
Absolutely.
for coaches, for everyone for that matter.
Yes. Yes.
And the second practice I have recently, like maybe a year old, which I am practicing for a long time, is a forgiveness prayer I do every day before I go to sleep.
Nice.
So I think there is always this internal talk, negative talk. It will always take you to back to that trauma, back to that past
Yeah.
where you're suffering, struggling. No matter you're successful today.
Yeah.
And when I'm cooking, I would really hear that. And
Mm, mm.
I went to a healing master, and he taught me certain self healing, peer healing, remote healing techniques, and I picked up this forgiveness prayer from his
Yes.
learnings. I
Love that.
started
Love that.
to, and that has really helped me, really, this that noise in my negative noise in my head go down. I'm more
Mm,
calm. Like, as you said, there is chaos,
yeah.
there's uncertainty, there are things going around we will make us anxious, but and handling multiple teams, multiple projects, kids, you know, there has to be peace and grace. It's not like you become a wild horse running
Yes.
around. You are at
Yes.
peace, you're calm, you are listening, you're responding. So I think this forgiveness prayer has helped me heal. And
Beautiful.
I remember you were telling, no, it starts with healing. So
Yeah.
healing is the
Yes.
first
Yeah.
journey that you need to take. And these are the two practices I would say has been a game changer for me, and it
Oh,
helps.
thank you. Oh, that's just it's just beautiful, and it's something which when within yourself, but it's explained so beautifully as well by somebody else, right? It's beautiful,
Yeah.
right? It's just again further confirmation of it's so incredible. And so I first learned about gratitude from, so I was a Bob Proctor coach before,
Mm-hmm.
and so I obviously had heard of gratitude journaling from, like, it's kind of, I think once you delve into the coaching world it's sort of there, but um I'd never really seen it as like so much emphasis on, people talk about gratitude, like be thankful, like yeah, okay, I get that. um but like an actual concept and journaling and like a real kind of like this is an actual practice, almost
Yeah.
like, and so now I actually prescribe gratitude journaling to my patients. I'm like, yeah, twice a day gratitude journaling, and yeah, obviously some just look at me, but I'm like, no, seriously. And that it's really interesting, the neuroscience behind it, because
Mm-hmm.
gratitude is when you look at, it's called the Hawkins law of vibration, right? Which I didn't know this. There's different levels of vibration, if you just imagine. So love, calmness of
Mhm.
mind, body, soul, and business and home. Um, Peace is the highest frequency,
Mhm.
right? So highest feeling, let's just say. And the lowest is, guilt, anger, shame,
Mhm.
right? We all experience all emotions. Now, all emotions are normal. It's not you're feeling anger. Like, we all feel it. That's normal. But it's about the emotional regulation piece. That is the E, by the way, in my heart methodology. Emotional regulation, not I'm scared, I must never be angry. I must, no, it's not possible. But how do you regulate out of that?
Mhm.
Um, and that is gratitude. So gratitude is again one of the highest vibrations. And the reason is my patients with anxiety, I often say we all have anxiety, but who are predominantly in that state of
Mhm.
anxiety, they feel stuck. So gratitude is the opposite emotion. The mind can't do it. It can't do anxiety and gratitude at the same time. It's just not, neuroscience, it's not possible to do those two neurons at the same time. So when we're doing our gratitude practice, I know initially it's like, oh, yeah, this feels really silly. I'm grateful for my coffee and this mug, and you feel like, okay, I'm just learning into it. But still, it's the feeling, right? It's not the thing. So when you really tap into that feeling, initially it may feel like a couple of seconds, and then the thought comes back in, and then you're like, no, 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 I'm doing my gratitude. And the more you do it, what I tell my patients is you are actually creating new neurons, new wiring in your mind. It's incredible. You are self healing. You're literally creating new neurons. And the more you do the practice, those neurons become, it's like a railroad. It's becoming more ingrained, right? So what happens is every time, of course, those thoughts come back in, but they come back in less strong, less frequent, and this is like a muscle. This becomes stronger. So you're not sort of like a mustn't think like that, mustn't think like that. It's like, it's much calmer, right? Because it's basically the feeling of, I've got this. No matter what happens, I've got this. I know what to do. I've got the tools. So gratitude, you can anytime get yourself to that highest vibration, which is where the strategy then, right? Like, you need to be in a state of calm. It's, you're able to create, that's the sacral chakra. You're able to create, I want to create this global leadership and reach, take this global, right? And this impact, and the income is aligned. And then how do I do that? Well, that version of us is on that highest frequency. Obviously, we're not a robot, so it's not 24/7 all day, but it's okay when you come down, because you know that this is within you all the time. It's not a version of me or you that's like far away in like 10 years. It's actually here. That version of you now was in you 10 years ago, but it hadn't been, like, I call it the A. Oh, nice. We're moving along my my heart method here. But the A is awaken the warrior within, or
Yeah.
awaken the wealthy warrior. It's always there. It's just because it's the journey of, in spirituality, we say self-realization. So it's just, you haven't realized it, you haven't awoken it. It's not like this outside concept that's so far and I've got to work really hard. It's actually self-realization. And of course, that version takes action, right? Does the public speaking, does the podcast, writes the books. So there is the action, but people take that action without this um, healing embodiment piece. Awaken. They do it without that, and then they wonder why the results are not coming, because it needs to have that this is the foundational. This is the foundation of self, right? That holds that up. Otherwise, it just falls down like a house of cards. And also, the beauty is, no matter what, we try strategies, kind of like, oh, okay, so that's how not to do it. Okay, let me cross that off. What is it? Took Edison 10,000 attempts, right, to make the light bulb. 10,000 attempts. So he said, I didn't fail. It just took 9,999 like steps to get to this point, right? So, but we need that resolve, that wealthy warrior within, to come back again and again, actually coming back stronger. And that is what people are who are just that one or two steps, not behind you, but haven't fully realized. When they see it in you, they see it in them, right? Like you saw the CEO. Now others are seeing you,
Yeah.
right? And seeing like, look at what she's achieved in the last 10 years. It's
Yeah.
incredible, right? So I just wanted to, as you can see, I'm very passionate about this, but I think healing is the first step because it will just keep coming up like again
Yeah.
and again. It's like, hello, I'm still here in the middle of your podcast. I'm going to pop this thought in your head and stop you from saying this key point you wanted to say. I want to stop you because, and then you're going to start in the imposter syndrome. But when you heal it, it does come up, but it's the awareness, right? Of like, it's cool. I know what that is. I know what you're trying to do, Molly, but I've got this. We're doing this. I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing, and I'm going for it because the impact you're having on the 100 plus countries around the world with your incredible work is so much more than that little thought, which is like some old, it's probably from the lineage, like back in the day, some even in the DNA, like it's nothing to do with now. And
Yeah.
and by taking that action, it's actually further healing, right? It's further healing to like the ancestors, if you like, of like, thank you for showing up for us and doing what we couldn't do in their lifetime. Like, how amazing technology. Look at what we're doing. You're in India and I'm in London.
Yeah.
Like, I just think how amazing that we can carry out our dreams with our kids, you know, opening doors and and doing all sorts of things. But the fact that we're able to do that, you know, I think is incredible. So yeah, I just wanted to, whilst we're focusing on motherhood with this, I wanted to lean into, especially with motherhood, whilst we're doing our business, because it's not like, it can feel a bit like, okay, now I finished the podcast, now I'm going to make some chicken curry, and like that is the three times table, and like, it's like it can feel like you're walking literally into another realm of
Yeah.
reality, but in reality, it all intertwines. But what I like to do with my kids is I try to focus on like the principles, like for example of like discipline, which I'm actually teaching myself as well. Like today, we all know that mummy's got to do 1 hour of hit. So I've told everyone now, like mummy, and they'll stand there with their signs like, no, that was a bad spot, or whatever it is. But that's a little bit of accountability for me because I know that that neuroplasticity wiring is not being fully hardened yet, right? So that's okay. I'm self-aware. So what is it about the principles I'd love to learn from you as a fellow mum? Integrity, like discipline, the values you're teaching your kids that are actually in entrepreneurship, this journey. Like, how do you teach it to your kids as you go along your journey when it's kind of like a bit messy, not fully thought out yet? I'd just love to learn from you. How do you do it? What's your version of that?
Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting take. I have two teens and one young 6-year-old. So no, around me. So and my husband, I'll count him also as the pilot I am managing.
Yes.
So so we need to take care of their requests as well,
Of
right?
course.
What
Yeah.
they
Yes.
need in their food, no. So I need to
Yes.
manage all of that. So
Yes.
so definitely the one thing that there are few things which I think my kids have learned it is to be become like take leadership when we like both of us are not there, or like I'm in my meeting room and my husband is not there. He's a practicing doctor, so he has a clinic, so he's not at home in
Yeah.
the morning hours. Taking leadership, because the elders have to then take care of the younger ones in the house and whatever
Yes.
is going around, even if it is messing, they have to take responsibility of managing that stuff until
Mm.
I come back or somebody is
Mm.
there to deal with it. They can't be chaotic about it, or they can't create a scene or drama. So taking responsibility and bringing that leadership uh,
Yeah.
is they have to, there's no choice over there
Yes.
that
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you have to take accountability and leadership when we are not there. So I think that has that I can see in their own life also, like wherever they are going, they are taking that responsibility and accountability of managing themselves. So my kids could take projects or things that they were not supposed to, taking some
Mm,
assignments to travel for the school and doing some work, and so that we never demanded, like, you have to do this and that, but they chose to take additional projects with their academics. So that is
okay.
one quality that
Amazing.
has come. And second is very important, and I think I keep reminding them also because it always comes back, is we also get mad.
Yes.
Get angry.
Yes.
There are stuff, in families it happens, like you get,
Of course.
um, but really looking at the narrative that you tell yourself now, whether it's your
Mm,
parent who's going mad at you, or it is a friend or a teacher or
mm,
anybody outside of you, XYZ, whoever is getting mad at you, or you are at a situation like, no,
mm.
the narrative that you tell yourself, you have to be very, no, you have to be aware of it.
Yes.
And the strongest, the most powerful narrative is what you say to yourself more than anybody says anything to you.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
is the ground
Yes. Yes.
rule, that you have to check this no matter
Yeah.
what situation, and
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
to make that narrative powerful and that empowers you, not makes you feel guilty, or maybe
Mm,
disempowers you, or you run into something. No, it's that narrative that you need to, we always keep it
mm.
empowering. So being a coach, I can catch this, in maybe after a conversation, so I'm able to see, like, my children can catch themselves and do the work, before
Yes.
they go out, because
Yes.
that becomes their belief system when they grow
Yes.
up.
Yes.
And really rewiring at a very young age. My kids are, like, I started my entrepreneurial journey when my daughter was 6, my son
Oh,
was 4, so they have been away on a short, break,
yes.
so they have
Yes.
to manage themselves at those times, so they've been trained from that age to really manage their conversations as well. And that has really helped me. Very powerful human beings, in the sense they can manage, like, I can take, I could see that they have taking the control of, they can take the control back. Even
Yes.
today. So I think these are the two things. Rest, I think, is, life keeps changing. We have seen post pandemic, and now, you know and life will come back. There will be something that would be happening, but I think these are the few things where you are a leader all your life.
Mm,
That's one.
mm.
And you have the power to, write the story that you want to see, make it real.
Yes.
It's in your
Yes.
hands. That I've given to them.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Another um, beautiful insight. I think that's so wise, so powerful. I think I've completely resonate with what you're saying. And I think such powerful leadership within yourself as well as in
Yes.
your motherhood. And then expressed
Yes.
through the global service as well. So kudos to you. I think it's wonderful, and I think people need this. People need this in the world. Like, on a serious note, it's not just the business. It's the how do I do this with kids? How do I do that life launch? How do I am working? How do I okay, I'm about to do my my DMO, all of that, and then like there's a tantrum about he did this, and it's like UN, political drama in your living room. And like, how do I do this? And then when you're physically tired, so just all these, it's not the how. Actually, sometimes how is almost the easy kind of like, yeah, just do this. I mean, it's not easy, I'm not saying that, but what I mean is that version of me there's a whole other how, right? And then that is this internal dialogue, exactly what you said. Even just knowing that you have the power to
Yeah.
create the life you want, that can just be very nice words for some who are really struggling, right? Whether that's emotionally, spiritually, financially,
Yeah.
a lot of resistance. It can feel like, okay, that's really nice for you, but how do I do this? Like, obviously you and I have had our struggles, but I think that communication of that in as part of the leadership. That vulnerability, it is vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
To share that. And I don't know about you, but I remember like when I was growing up, it was very like you know, the respect and kind of like what people thought of you, and it wasn't meant in a negative way. It was like, oh, you have these certain positions, and the family respect and all of that sort of thing. And so, I remember when I will sometimes go ahead and be like, oh, well, when I got into medical school, I didn't get in the first time, and all of this. No, 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 shh, don't tell you. Don't say that's not what you tell people. But for me, when I was on the receiving and hearing that from people, that's what gave me hope of like, okay, wow, so you, award-winning coach, doctor, whatever it is, you mean you didn't do it the first time? You mean you had all that huge struggle? You mean you were having imposter syndrome? You mean you like, oh, okay, that it's that connection, right? It's and then you knowing within yourself that that's part of the journey. I don't just have all the answers, right? So I always tell my kids as well, if you had all the answers, you'd be the teacher, right? Like, you don't need to go to school, you just walk in and be the teacher. So I completely agree with that. And I think so. I've also taught my kids the same thing I've been doing. So gratitude journaling. I started my entrepreneurial journey when the first one I have. So they're age 5 and 7. He was 6 months. And I was writing my book, Habits book, which I'll link below. But I was writing that, thinking that book was like, oh, I've written the book, right? It's about a millions rolling. Complete like tumbleweed, like, hello, anybody there? Because I had no idea about entrepreneurship and strategy. But still, like, just realizing the whole other embodiment work, the mindset work that comes with that, and then actually taking the other action. So now with my kids, like the gratitude journey, or when there's playground, politics and all this stuff that happens, like, okay, let's role play it. Let's go through the internal dialogue. Let's talk about the habits of kids who are clever, happy, strong, healthy, which you are, but you're not maybe expressing that version of you like right now. And why is that? Or like, oh, can you see how you're talking? You're correct in what you're saying, but the tone in your voice is not much respect, etc. With the way you're talking. Maybe you just need to just take a few deep breaths and the emotional regulation, and trying to teach that to a child really teaches myself, what I do actually understand a bit. And what just sounds like very nice, but like, yeah, I don't really understand that concept. I really need to firm that up, because the beauty of kids is they'll ask you 10,000 questions. It's like a Viva, of like, yeah, but why did we do that? And what is gratitude? And but why can't you do this? And it's good. It really makes you feel like, okay, I need to really understand this, and to be able to explain it just in a very simple way, no jargon, not trying to sound clever or any of this, but just to a child, and why it's relevant to them. This is not just about income and impact. It's for me, this is literally like life changing, no matter what you're doing, right? It is life changing. And that's why I love teaching, in this way. But I think yes, teaching your kids as you go along, I think is so important. It's not just like a luxury, it's integral. And that's what I think. It's like you've got like the mothership, I like to call it, which is like at home, and then you have like it in your business as well. But you need both. Like when I'm teaching corporate executives, from banks, etc., I'm always like, when things are very rocky at work, or someone's being very difficult and angry, and it's normally coming from a place of hurt and disharmony, and there's something going on within, and probably something going on at home. Both need to be fine. Like, it's worth taking the time out to go and sort out what's going on, because that is going to affect productivity, and the how, and all of that. You need both, have to be fine, because we're talking about long-term impact here. This is part of the legacy leadership. It's not just at home, it's the next generation of leaders in your team and in your home.
Yes.
It's both. It's both. It has to be in harmony. So I'm grateful you shared that with me. So moving on, I just want to now move into kind of like detachment, which sounds a bit strange because we want to be emotionally, oops, just rewind like that. We want to be emotionally involved with our goal, right? So it's not just like, okay, I got to DM this person and do my podcast, and, yeah, and then I got to, do my hit. And we got to have the meaning in it to feel really like sparked in life, and that's why we're here. But sometimes we can almost go into desperation, like, oh, I like did the live launch and I did this, and then like no one showed up, and of course have the disappointment, but not so it's really affecting our self-worth. So I don't know if you've noticed it, but I found in my for me, like being emotionally involved, but also being just like that balance, of between that and also being kind of attached to the outcome. And like right now, just like I'm not just saying this, but I'm really enjoying this conversation. Like for me, this is a beautiful exchange of energy, of like just the ripple effect of this, and even in just our homes, right? Of like later on when we're with our kids, they're just like, yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about. Like it's right home right now, and it's in Ranjini's home later, right? Like it's just knowing that, let alone the other millions of homes through your service, through mine, and the ripple effect in our kids as leaders. Like I just love that. So then I can be a bit detached to like wherever else this leads on to. I love that experience, right? I would love like all the people, all those who are watching to enroll into my mastermind and this. I would love that experience, but I'm also genuinely good with this. It's not less. It's just different. So with your incredible 6 ventures you've launched, multi-million empires, how did you stay sort of detached from the outcomes while still being really deeply committed? Because it still takes a lot of action. It really have to draw from within. Like, how did you do that? What was the mindset? And then the kind of action, if you had to do anything around that.
Yeah.
So,
So
thank you.
I think this question is again taking me back a decade when I was doing a money seminar and I really designed a business plan. You know, I remember in that training I became an enterprise from an individual. So I walked into that program as an individual, participating on the transformation around your conversations around money in your life. And the when I came out with a business plan. I became an enterprise. So I remember jotting that. I still have that paper with me where I jot down, like, if I am an enterprise, what I would try to know. These 6 ventures are those 6 things that I wrote on that paper 10 years back. So I knew, like, as a legacy, what I want to leave. Like,
Yes.
like I want it's not just like you're here as a consumer.
Yeah.
You're here to consume resources and go, or maybe acquire a lot of material wealth and just
Mm,
just protected all your life you're spending. No, it's more about really opening your arms, giving that, as you said, the cup is full and overflowing. I'm here to give. So coming from a space of abundance, so these are the two places when people approach, coming from scarcity or an abundance. So when you
mm,
approach things from scarcity, you're always you then attach yourself with all the goals and outcomes, and you drain your energy, drains in that process by the time you reach. So many people achieve, but they feel drained at the end of the day, like, though they are
mm,
successful. So when you come from a place of abundance, like, you have nothing to lose here. And 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 that plan, like, those 6 ventures are them. Like, I have all of that. And 10 years, like, fast forward today, these 6 ventures are done. So I wrote it on a piece of paper, and today it is a reality. And I think I would say consciously I was never looking at where I'm going, how I'm going to do this. It was just, I would say, idea in my head, like, I really want to do things in this direction, and you keeping it in your, like, like, in your present all the time. Like, this is the so you should have a broader, clear vision of where you're going. So when you know where you're going, then maybe don't know the how, but the universe, I would say, or it will show up. The ways to achieve that will show up. So you just to be open or clear about where you want to go. how you're going to go. You will, as long as you're invested in that vision, it will it will keep clear, like you will get the clarity of what things I can do to get there. So I think when it comes to, I think the only advice that I can give people to get detached is to not come from scarcity,
Yes.
not having a goal or an outcome because just because I don't have it, let me have this.
Mm.
It's a wrong way of approaching things. It's more about you becoming bigger, broader, the
Yes.
expansion,
Yes. Yes.
and it's like
Yes.
there's
Yes.
nothing to lose here, and it's so beautiful, like you are making a difference in the world, or
Yes.
and it all, it's everything, the good or the benefits are coming back to you. You are in the
Yes.
process of transformation. It's not like you're losing something.
Yes.
Right, so
Yes.
coming from a place of
And
abundance, and the feeling that it's more than enough, and that opens up the more than enough for you, like the abundant
mm,
world is opens up for you. And yes, be clear of your vision as much as possible, not just the tangibles. And
yes.
being anchored to the emotion that you give to that vision, if that becomes real, what is available. And I think that's the anchor that you can have, like, so that it's there with you. So it's there with me for so many years. It's 10 years now. So a plan became a reality in 10 years. So give yourself that much time, 5 years, 10 years.
Yes.
Don't be like, I need it tomorrow or this year.
Yes.
So your vision, no, give that time also for yourself to achieve that.
Yes. Yes.
So the
Absolutely.
6 ventures I have got is, I would say, like it took me 10 years to really achieve. And I can look back like these are tangible ventures that has happened.
Yes.
But I was never consciously chasing that plan. It was just
Mm.
written, and just let things unfold. Yeah, I think that's how I would answer
Beautiful.
this question.
And tell us about your sixth venture. Obviously, they can look it up, but
Yeah. So one is my coaching business, where I teach strategy of monetizing your skills and expertise as a coach, and the other one is my podcast. So there is a voice to it. So
yes.
it's a passion project actually. So, but now I can see the monetization side of it. Like, though I never looked at it, but it has come up now. I have a diabetes care center hospital,
Nice.
which is my husband is the CEO of it.
Oh,
So I'm the
lovely.
marketing growth partner of
Yeah.
that business. So again, co-founded. Then we did a program for teens, helping
Okay.
teenagers become leaders. So I had this small venture where I had a team of 9 coaches, parenting coach and life coaches for teen leadership programs. And then we have 2 nonprofits, one for senior care, and I have done some work around helping seniors, raising funds for them who are left out by their families,
Society.
their
Yeah.
content. So I've done some work for them, and also around education for children. Like, I think during the pandemic, we started like funding children for schools and their fees. So these are the 2 nonprofit ventures. I think I have covered it all. I have so, and I have a community. I have a community of coaches, which is again the foundation of the global work I'm going to do.
Yes.
So that's my team. Looks like it. I've
Oh
covered
my
it all. I hope so.
that is incredible. That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that with me. And I just wanted to hone in on a couple of concepts there, which was coming from a place of, so you say abundance, which I say too, but I always tell my clients coming from a place of wholeness. Like
Yeah,
you
complete.
are complete now. Like you know, sort of even for example in marriage, right?
Mm,
You are choosing to be. in that partnership, if that makes sense. It's not a coming from a place of need, and that's meant with actually more respect of like I'm good, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm whole, I have my hobbies, I have my things I'm doing, but I'm so good and I'm choosing to spend this time. And that's not meant with ego, it's also the other way around. It's coming from a place of respect. Also for those other things that this person's doing, which makes them whole. Like they need to do
Yeah.
their exercise, they need to see other family members and do their passion projects. So whatever it is that kind of their value, their personal values, you're probably aligned. But so that place of wholeness. And the second thing was I call it, actually I have a program called Warrior Strength, and it's all about the internal compass. So that
Mm-hmm.
is your goal. Basically, you mentioned vision, and it is
Mm-hmm.
literally anchored, like it's tattooed, and
Yeah.
it's that is your compass. So every time, even if somebody, I'm sure you've had this, right, where someone brings like a, I don't know, opportunity for you or something, and you have to almost check within, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not a bad opportunity, but it's not even about capacity. It's just it's not 100% in alignment with my
Aligned.
values, yeah, with the compass. It's gonna move things away. Maybe from it's a great goal and they want everything in person, and that's wonderful, but that's gonna move. That's not gonna help the mothership at home, right? Like that's great, but how does that work with pick up and drop off, and the traffic? So actually it's kind of like, okay, but I can change this to be like in person and these hours and this is, and then that's more about the how, right? You're able to tap back in because you're like, you've got the compasses here, you can literally almost see it, but you don't see it, you feel it,
Yeah.
right? You feel it. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. And the other thing was then, thank you, Ranjini, also for taking us along the heart method. But then the R, which is rising. So you are rising up through the anger and the chaos into calm, because we know, you've risen up the emotions and you're in gratitude, you're in calmness, you're in love with your project, with your goal, with your family, with yourself. You're coming from a place of wholeness,
Mm.
because you're taking care of yourself, you're getting your 8 hours sleep, you're doing your inner work, and there's something come up, you're like, okay, let me just take a moment and like sort through whatever else, what this is, this narrative, as you mentioned it, this internal dialogue, like where did that come from? Let me just heal that. Let me do gratitude journaling. Let me even tell my kids and even my clients, you can always pop to the toilet for like 2 minutes and just close your eyes and take a deep breath and just feel yourself rising up. That I tell my kids it's like a mountain, and you want to go from red or from hot to cold. Like you want to just, and every time you take a deep breath, you are calming it down. You're literally pouring cold water over it. You're rising up the emotions back into, like, it's like a mental reset button. I'm back into gratitude. I'm back into love with myself. I'm back into love with life. Even if it's a crazy challenge, like I'm back into the love of like, all right, let's
Mm.
let's do this, right? Let's do this, right? I've got to do the mental reset work. Go back into forgiveness of like, do you know what? This person's having a bad day. I forgive them. I'm not going to
Yeah.
punch them in the face. I'm going to forgive them. Taking a deep breath, and I know that this is not about me, right? So we all come from a place of like our inner kind of immaturity. We've gone back into, as you said, scarcity, right? So that's okay. So let me lead by example. Let me raise up again. Let me get back into my leadership. Let me get back into faith in myself, and then let me lead by example. And actually, you're leading them to come up within themselves, and then you find things calm down, and you're back in. If that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
just love that, um, and that's the last pillar in the heart method. So the T is a transformation. So you need to do that for the real transformation, right? For it to be permanent. And you kind of like, even in a day, you could be like going through all of that. But once you
Yeah.
have the awareness of like, do you know what, right now, I just need to pop to the loo. Or like, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And you know that you are just going up that, like I call it like the calm protocol. So
Yeah.
you know that, and that is quite grounding in itself, right? Like everything that you said, just to know that, like, I don't know the answer right now, but I still know I've got this. I know that I can have the way to do that is I need to like you said, get back into abundance and,
Yeah.
lead through that as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I thought that was incredible. That was beautiful. So we've actually answered some of the questions that we'd already done already, and we're kind of talking a little bit about masculine and feminine leadership. This is not gender, by the way, for everyone watching. We all have masculine and feminine within us. Okay, so just please forget about gender. But it is, and in certain cultures and faiths, they even name like the masculine energy as like, for example, Lord Shiva or Lord Kali or Parvati or this. It's actually all one. Less like it's all us. It's all one energy. It's just different little facets, and that could be quite useful sometimes to be like, how right now I really need to lean into like the masculine energy in this. Like I need to get this done, but I need to do it from a place of mature feminine, of compassion for myself and my family. Like I'm not going to go on till midnight. I still need to give my kids dinner. I still need to be there for them. I need to help them. So what's the best way? So just in that way, as a leader and mum, how do you kind of, whether you may not call it masculine feminine, but some people call it the logical and the emotional, compassion, courage, stability and structure, and healing and creativity. So whatever it is, but when you're making like hard decisions in family and business, how do you as a leader and mom, like have you kind of navigated that, or do you have tools that you use that help you with that? It might not be like a tool, but just like what is it that you come down to when you're presented with like a hard decision on something and you're sort of like, okay, do you have like a go-to, something that helps you?
Yeah. So I think let me answer this from the perspective of coaching itself,
Please,
because I
please.
think
Yeah.
we were discussing this before we got into this live. Like we have different approaches when it comes to mentoring and coaching people. The way a mentor could handle a student, or a coach could handle their client. So
Yes.
I would say the balance, like how do you take hard decisions, is coming from a place of workability. What
Okay.
works, what would
Okay.
work at this moment. It's not about just being right or wrong. It's
Yes.
just about making it work. So being a female leader, like being a mom, we are more compassionate, we are more flexible, we understand, and we so it is more about the commitment to make things happen. Like we are more
Yeah.
focused on what we are committed to accomplish together as a coach and a student, versus
Yes.
how it is getting done. you know
Yes.
some
Yes.
people, they get too tied up around how things have to be done. It has to be this way, and then there comes rules and regulations, and then do's and don'ts, and then maybe the energies will dilute into how things are getting done versus what need to be done. So when it
Mm.
comes to at home with kids and family, we take the workability, the style, like
Mm.
what works for everyone.
I love
What
that.
would, even for today, like if I haven't booked my return ticket and I'm asking all my children, like, which date works for you? So there are different answers.
Love
As a
that.
CEO, you need to manage this.
Yes.
And
Love
then I
that.
look at all the options and see what's the best workable option for all of us. Like there is, so I think taking that part and being a
Yes.
mom and being a compassionate leader, I think this can only come from a compassionate leader, that they
Thank
can
you.
understand, they can acknowledge the discomfort people having of not getting their choices, you know,
Yes.
getting the edge of getting the choice and all of that, and really making it work and enroll other people. Like we can do
Yes.
this together. So
Yes.
being, I think workability is the side of the action side of it,
Mm.
and be compassionate in dealing the emotional side of it, where it comes to some people would get it like, yeah, my option was chosen, or some people may be sad, like, my
Mm.
option was not chosen. So really, bringing it to completion, that they don't take a grudge for the
Yes.
next
Yes. 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 Yes.
or the next assignment, like that. So
Yeah.
I think this is possible for a leader who's, that's why these two energies you need to have both.
You need
So I
both.
would say the masculine side would be more around the structure side, like what works, let's do what works, and the feminine side would be taking care of everyone,
Yeah,
like you know, making
exactly.
sure it works. I think
Absolutely.
this is the story every day, everybody's house. Like when it comes to the dinner time, I have hundreds of questions to answer.
Yes, yes.
We finish the meal.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Dinner does end at some point. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think that is so incredible. And it shows how even in, for me, I'm always telling my kids family is the first team. Parenting is the first sort of leadership role. Obviously, you can embody it before having kids. You don't need to have kids to do that. But I just like that analogy, and that you even like to have to do exactly what you're saying. You need to have somehow have some sort of sleep, or at least like rest, or at least rest. I remember when I wasn't sleeping, especially with newborns, I was like, okay, well, even like meditation or prayer, or like at least just rest. Like I'm just focusing on rest. It's not deep sleep. But I think that is so incredibly important, where you have the compassion, and then you have the healthy boundary around that, right? Of like assertiveness, as a parent, which you have to have, but equally one of compassion and love, right? Like mom is like, and dad are like, they're always there for me. But like, kind of, these are the rules, but it's not like they're gonna like run away if like
Yeah,
if I break the rules as such. But like, yeah, there are also consequences, right? Like when we do our timeouts, and it's like a big, and sometimes you regret, like, oh gosh, even I don't want the timeout. It's too much, or like I don't have time for a timeout. But still, you're like, but I have to teach. But I'm going to teach it in the most compassionate way possible, right? So,
yeah,
yeah, I think that is, and actually for my kids, the timeouts now is they have to write, right? Like they have to write like an essay. Okay, they're only 5 and 7, so it'll be like, okay, 5 bullet points for you and 7 for you. But why that was, we actually had one yesterday on exactly what we're talking about, which is win-win, right? Like it's not the exact what was the solution. It's the whole journey in finding that win-win. Like first, exactly what you said, which was the first is the intention behind it, that I want to find a win-win. Like I don't know what the answer is, but like, I love you, brother, but I want to find a win-win. And like then you're coming from, because you're both then coming from the mature version of yourself. They're leading, each other.
yeah,
But then yeah, sometimes to get there, it is like, okay, let me write and get back into that, rather than like, no, it's my way, no, it's my way. Like you're not going to ever find the way, you know.
yes,
Um, and that's just not kids, right? It's even in like marriage, in team leadership, in global leadership. So it comes into everything. So perfectly, I wanted to, whilst we go into family, focus also a little bit more on, you know, where sometimes it can be difficult for those where they're at, especially maybe at the start of the entrepreneurship, and maybe they kind of have like the kids bit down, like they know what to do. Um, but it can be quite difficult when it's sometimes with like a partner, or maybe it's not a partner, maybe it's like for some people it's another, like a mother or a sibling or work or a friend or something external, where it's not really fully understanding. And with friends or so-called friends, you can
yeah,
be busy for the rest of your life, or whatever it is, like with compassion, kind of having healthy boundaries. But obviously with certain, you know it's a part of your team, right? So how, any advice, and it's a bit, it is a tricky question, because many are still working through that. It's not 100%, but I'd love to know what your take is on that, and what you advise your students as well.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I think this is, I would say, I would say the soft side of where people don't talk about this
Yes.
generally on social
Yes.
media, especially on a
Yes.
public platform. I
Yes.
remember coming, starting my work and really targeting or maybe using social media to restart
Yes.
career. And all this was new for my family. This was like, you are a techie, and what are you doing?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And she has lost her, no, like, since I came from a loss of a business, and then they thought, okay, she lost her, you know She doesn't know what to do. She's doing something, and
Yeah.
so there were a lot of conversations, arguments.
Yes, me
And
too.
yes, I think the first thing is to be having a very strong boundary,
Yeah,
especially for yourself. For
yeah.
yourself, if not for others, it's for you to just not being, triggered by what people are
Mm, mm.
saying. At the same time, you're still staying with your partner, right? You're not staying
Yeah,
away,
yeah,
still with them
exactly,
and doing your
exactly.
own thing,
Commitment. Yeah.
uh, right? And so I used to do things when my partner is not there. Like,
Mm.
when he's there, I would do what is needed so that they
Yeah,
don't see me, sitting in a room and doing
distracted.
some work and not bothering them. So
Yeah.
initially, for those who are
Finish.
starting, these are the ways where you emotionally, physically also manage the boundaries. Like,
Yes.
you are available when they are there. You
Yes.
smartly managing the work when they are not there, so that you don't have to sit 8 hours for doing this work. I
No.
remember investing 2 to 4 hours in a day, and I could manage it with the pandemic. Like, when we
Yeah.
were not having the help to help us
Mm.
really
To
pull. I
help
could
her.
write and release a book in that time,
Yeah.
but I pulled it off because I managed it. Like, because my dream, my desire, it was important to me. It may
Yeah.
not be important for others, and why would that be important for them? It is for me.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
my
you.
dream. You need to
Thank you
commit.
for saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to justify anyone around. Like, as long as you have awakened yourself, you have got this dream, you have this feeling like, I can do this. I can, though you just started, you can make it work. And over a period, I used to feel unhappy when people were not
Mm.
supporting me. There was this
I know. I
emotional,
know. Me
like,
too.
no pain I was
Yes.
taking. You
Yeah.
have a pin inside you,
It's
like,
so
it's
hard. It's so, yeah, I
pretty
felt the same.
hard. But on your face, like, as I'm speaking, people don't see, like, you are under pain. But
Yeah.
but over a period, I started to talk about it in the open forums where we were allowed to speak, and it really gave me, it's not like, it was not really hurting me just to keeping it with me, but have a place or a space or people where you can talk and you can
Mm.
release
Yes.
the stress of not having supporting me. So
Yeah.
even today, like, though I'm 5 years down the line, I have a business, I have a model, I have people. My family doesn't know what I do exactly.
Mm, mm,
That's the
mm.
thing.
Yeah.
And we have stopped talking about it because,
Yeah.
as long as that kind of boundaries have to be built.
It's
Like,
important. Yeah.
yeah, so you do,
Yeah.
like, it is like, we are doing our stuff, like, that's not interfering in our relationship.
Yes.
On
Exactly.
the other side, when it comes to your partner, like, you're living with them, like, they
Yeah.
see you grow over a period. And I remember, I can give you an example, my first live on Facebook with one of my clients.
Yeah.
He walked in and he was shouting at me.
I was going to say, because the beauty with social media, sorry to cut, is that
Yeah,
it's
and
it's it's yeah, it's live.
and that was my first encounters of, like, really doing things at a time which doesn't suit. My
Yeah.
baby was barely a year old and he was crying in the middle of the night, and
Yeah.
it was a US client, so I had to sit in the midnight to do the live, and it happened. So it
Yeah.
was traumatic for me, but the same person, he gifted me a MacBook
Oh,
after 4 years to
lovely.
acknowledge the kind of work I have done.
Lovely.
He gifted me, and that's
Lovely.
so it's an unsaid acknowledgement that they see you grow, they
Yes.
see you transform, and they see your work. So
Yes.
when you see results, when you become successful, they will recognize you. So till that point, you need to be patient. You have to have that grudge or revenge around
Oh,
them. Just give them the time to really look at and acknowledge what you are.
yes. Yeah. Thank you, Roger. That was so powerful, and I think that should be like any student who is who is starting their journey, because for some it may not be a partner, it may be some anybody that has any kind of family, right? We all do, we're all born from someone. I feel like that should be like the first module before even the welcome video. because I'm not going to get to the rest of the program, right? Because it is hard. It takes a certain amount of. It's not a dream that others have had. First of all, I am of the belief that if you will be given provision for the vision we talked about. You'll be given, whether you want to say that in a spiritual way or a more corporate way, like the strategy, whatever. But it will come, right? And we're literally in programs that are like, this is the strategy. This is what you have to do. You just follow, right? Or you do your version. But it is all of this. How do I log on? When do I do this? When, okay, is it this software? Is it, when do I, okay. And then you go to do it, and then it's like all this. And I feel like the drama or the resistance or whatever you want to call it that comes along, I don't think it's necessarily like a test, like it's from God, like, oh, we're going to test you and like it's so horrible. It's almost like it comes from within, like all the fear is like coming, literally coming as like a block, and then this doesn't work and that doesn't. And I feel like that is the work. Like even before this podcast, I was like just like a mini little kind of prayer, and like we talked about the worry internal compass, like, okay, compass is set, like you check the Wi-Fi, you do this, it's like it's part of the settings, right? It's like the mental mindset, I call it the thermostat mindset setting, like it's set, this is the everything set properly, because then it just flows, right? It flows nicely. I also at the beginning of business it's always the same, right? Beginning of business, I was doing like 4 a.m. live, some 30-day challenge, It's like, okay, yeah, at the beginning challenge, yeah, I can do this. And then like had a newborn baby. My husband's obviously like, she's gone mad. Um, and wondering halfway through, like, why am I doing this? And like as soon as the baby sleeps, you just want to sleep. But like, no, I'm going to go live and talk about mindset. And yeah, it was really hard. And like, I remember putting on makeup at like, it was like 4 a.m. I had a blazer just like set there, the same blazer I'd wear like every day, just because I felt I had to present in a certain way. So I put on my blazer and I put my makeup on. Like, what are you doing? It's 4 in the morning. And I think even some of them are breastfeeding on the camera. Like you can't see it's like this, but I remember I can see the videos. It's there on YouTube where I'm like, oh my god, I remember that I was feeding. But it was something inside. I was like, even if nobody watches, I have to do this for me. Like I felt I'm literally, we talked about watering the plant. I'm literally watering this. I can't let this plant die, even if it takes 10 years. It takes whatever period of time. Even every time you may have, I've certainly had times when I've been like, I'm just going to quit. This is like, what's the point? Why go through all this stress? Like, why am I doing this to myself, right? Like perfectly, high skills to do anything else. And then something stops you, and it is that dream, right? Of like, no, like just, even if it's just for you, in writing the first book, I still read it, right? It's got like recipes in it, and it's got my initial mindset stuff and those things. And that's what kept me, because I wrote it in that mat leave. I was like, I'm going to write this for me, even if no one buys this book, right? Then I became a number one bestseller. But the reason, to be honest, wasn't like yes, you followed the strategy, but it was, I need this for me, even just to show myself. I don't want to be on my deathbed like, oh, I didn't do the work, I didn't do this. It's like, I just want to tell that Vidya that like, you did it. And if it's going to help other people along the way, like that ripple effect, that frequency I talked about, the love frequency, the gratitude, other people are on that frequency also at 4 a.m. like watching the really messy, awful lighting. Oh my, seriously, watch my first YouTube video. Like they're watching it like, oh, thank you for that awful lighting video. Like I didn't need to see this beautiful edited one today. I needed to see that one of like just how awful it was, just to see the journey literally of my own warrior heart method, like literally see like day one, like the mess. And I think that's important, the vulnerability, as well as like almost kind of normalizing that like resistance or the uncomfortableness, like it's okay, like that's part of the warrior strength. And that's equally how we then go on to then reach not just 100 countries, but like, are there 200 countries? But like, and really going all out there, really, because it's that frequency of like, but of course, like, why would it not? Because if it could help that one mom at 4 a.m. who was like, it's hard enough, but for some reason, maybe that's what I needed. maybe that's what that Ranjini needed. Like this was feeding that plant of me, and then it's this sort of global service business is almost like an outward expression of that internal journey, right?
Yeah.
You could take this template and like
Yes.
share it as a PDF or a book or a, like you said, the voice version.
Yeah.
So I think it's an expression of yourself. Like I have this program called Warrior Voices, and it's literally how to monetize your podcast. But I'm like, it is your throat chakra. It is literally healing others. This conversation, like certainly for me, that video from like 2018 maternity leave, and I was on a lockdown with my baby. It was 2018 before the actual one, and I think that birth that can really help that side of things. I think when it's postnatal and the emotional healing and whatever age the child is, but I think that can really help, even just from a mental health point of view. I think it can make a really big difference because only once you've got that sorted, like when I have many patients who come from mental health issues or they want a performance review and they've been told to book this appointment and, to sort your stress out because it's affecting, then it's going to affect the productivity or the work or the home or everything else. But equally, it can do the opposite. If you really tend to it, really strengthen it, you will still feel all the resistance, but it's very grounding to know that you will be able to sort it out no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And then equally, you can do whatever it is that that you want to do. It can make a huge difference with you. So I think that is so powerful what you mentioned. I really appreciate you, really do. I really appreciate you actually, but I also especially for sharing that because that's why I was important to share the questions before because it is not an easy question to answer to be honest, to answer, sorry. But I really felt like that was an important conversation because there are so many people who kind of know what to do. And I remember always feeling like, yeah, but it's okay for them. They don't have kids. Not that I didn't have gratitude, but like I just don't know how to do this. Or like, especially because it was so. I remember asking like, is there a way of doing this like without social media? Because it's like showing everything. I wanted to like, no, I want to take action, but I don't want to show anyone. But I was like, it was actually pulling from something within me of like rising above the fear of just like, even if it's messy, like it's okay. Like the
Yeah.
world's not going to end. It's okay. And as long as it's in alignment with your values, like you're
Yes.
not hurting anyone.
Yes.
You're not hurting anyone. And actually, it's the opposite. You're empowering others. But to first empower them, you have to empower you.
Yourself
You have to
first.
sell yourself first into your program before you can sell somebody else because
Yeah.
it's got to be like almost like, is this worth the stress and strain? And then you're like, yeah, the benefits you and that you're going to get from this is way more than the mindset and the resistance and the fear and that side of things. So sorry, something I'm very passionate about. That's why I had to share so much about that. But
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. No, you're most welcome. We're just ending up now, but I just want to focus sort of towards the end on just what is it that you really, if you don't mind sharing, but just what you really want to accomplish. Like, what is the legacy for Ranjini Sanjay? What is it that what is not just the next step, but like the big vision if you're happy to share.
I think the legacy that like this is something I can share. From the point why I started my entrepreneurial journey. Like I
Mhm.
would say, when I started as an entrepreneur, I was running schools, which was a franchisee of another brand. And over
Okay.
2 years, I realized like I can have my own brand, my
Yeah.
own business, my own signature. And that's where I, jotted down my company name and all of that. And that point, I set an intention why I'm doing this. And today, I think fast forward so many years, it still is the same. So I remember writing that one tagline. I was writing my company's name, like become a leader who inspires and contributes. So
Love it.
I think we started in 2018, and Last
You
year
really.
I did I did the rebranding of the company, and this time it's not about becoming a leader. I no, you are no the leader who is inspiring and contributing. So no,
Yes.
I could no rewrite that tagline like no, it's no the leader inspiring and contributing. So I think it would still there. I'm creating leaders around the world who continues to inspire and contribute. I think that is the legacy that I leave with my
Oh,
lineup of work. So
that is
I
incredible.
remember when I was doing this exercise, it was because I had not become that leader who inspires. So it automatically came in my tagline as I wrote, become a leader. But today, I am that leader who's inspiring and contributing. So
You
now I'm
are.
creating more leaders.
You
So,
are. You are. And globally in
yeah,
100 plus countries because they need it, right? They need that version of you, and okay, their version of it, yes, but we're all kind of putting our own spin, right, on our way of doing things, and that's why we all resonate with somebody because maybe from this conversation they also want, you know, someone, a coach who is also a mother. And I've had many who have said, but and also South Asian. Not that it matters to me, but that was something maybe in their own mindset, something they had to feel like, but how, like some sort of something to heal. But I think that is incredible, because the world needs this. The world's need, this leadership. It's not just a business; it's a service. It's a contribution. It's a beautiful ripple effect. And the beauty about leadership, which I love, is it can be in any industry, right? Like I know we're in coaching, but it can be in corporate entrepreneurships, teaching, health. Like it's everyone needs it. It's in the home. It's the same principles. It's not like, oh, but this is different. But no, it's the same principles in executive, corporate, eight-figure entrepreneurship that it is in the home. That's what I just love about it. So it's literally just taking things, and that it's a legacy in itself, isn't it? Not the actual structure,
yeah,
and then the
yes.
actual legacy, the emotional mastery, everything. This conversation that we're now passing into our kids, and then their kids. My kids was also talking about like, oh, when I'm a daddy, and I'm going to teach this, and then on Mondays we're going to do journaling, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm grateful that sounds so normal to you as a
Yeah,
5-year-old. I have a hard time telling 55-year-old corporate male leaders like to embody this concept, and you're just a 5-year-old little boy. And I love that because they
yeah,
will just take it as like it's
yeah,
a fact. And
absolutely.
it took me, I'm 41, so it took me 41 years, but that is a legacy in itself. And your leadership is so needed in this world, Ranjini. And I think that is a beautiful place for us to end on this. And I
Yeah,
just want to thank you so much for showing us that motherhood and mission can be like they're not mutually exclusive, right? If anything, they are strengthening. Each one is strengthening the other one. It's the
yes.
opposite, and it is therefore forming like the mothership, as I like to call it. And it is the devotion, the discipline, showing up for yourself, staying anchored, that strength. And that in itself, that initial hustle, the tension, the resistance, that is awakening the warrior within. That is the leadership that you're
Yeah.
then just going to be making like the business version of and then out there. But it starts with that. That is like the plant is the little buds are growing, and you just got to keep watering even when it's a storm, and you're still showing up for yourself in with compassion. And I think people really need this. I need this, and I'm so grateful for you. How can people reach out to you with your global mission? How can
Yeah.
people reach out to you and your programs as
Yeah.
well?
So thank you, Vidya, for this conversation. I could relive my 10 years with you in
Yes,
just one
thank you,
hour.
thank you.
There's so
Yeah.
many, you know, I think this exercise is good to really reflect, acknowledge your growth. So I'm feeling different as I'm, finishing this conversation. Like I've come so far, and still the basics and the who I started and what I wanted to do it still remains the same. I still have the same enthusiasm to, go to my next level game.
Yes.
and it's so beautiful, so beautiful. So people can like you can reach out to me on the messenger on FB. I'm there, and I'm available on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. And yeah, drop me a message, would be happy to connect, because the next level game that we are playing together, because Vidya is going to be my mentor
Yes.
in the next
An honor.
journey,
An honor.
and helping me the side that I don't know is the, I may be a logical person, but there is a side of me which is going to contribute to my journey ahead. So I'm giving that guidance to her, like guide me through,
Oh,
take me through that.
it's an honor. It's an honor.
And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm open to conversations, like
Hmm.
like how we can contribute to each other. I'm very
Yes.
open. You can book a call or DM me. I'll be there. Yeah.
Lovely. So Facebook Messenger,
LinkedIn.
is in LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yeah. The
Perfect.
same name, Ranjini Sanjay. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, lovely. So I'll link those as well, so people
Sure.
DM you probably as a first thing to do, and then Ranjani can guide you to the next step of whatever they're needing. But I just want to thank you so much, and really grateful for this. As I always say, this is not just it's not just for this for this podcast. It's not just for this business. This in itself is part of the contribution, from Ranjani and myself as well. So I'd like to thank you for being here, and I'd like to thank all the listeners for tuning in, and please do share, amongst your various platforms. And yeah, super grateful. So thank you so much. I'm just going to end the live now.